Welcome to another entrepreneurship segment of the Leaderonomics show. And today we have with us Hani Khaursar, who is the founder of Guerrilla Entrepreneurs and also has a blog called Blissipline. So, Hani, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about blog Blissipline. How did that get started?
Well, the Blissipline is just, it's not my word. It's actually a word that was used by Michael Beckwith in the States. And so basically, I love the word. And
Blissipline,
so
as in bliss and discipline.
Yes, it's a combination. So I decided to come up with a meaning for it, which is the discipline of pursuing your bliss. So, and so I decided to start that because I've met so many interesting people who are actually pursuing their passion and they're doing it successfully. And I thought that that's so cool, and there has to be a process to that. And so I wanted to, like, I would interview people who are successful and passionate and loving what they do, and I'll try to get the mindset.
What's the secret to Blissipline?
First, I think some of the common things that I realize is that you have to be clear on what so you have to sit down, and if you're
clear in terms of your purpose or your
purpose,
what you want to what's your bliss,
what's your bliss or what you're really passionate about. And that's it seems like a simple question, but a lot of people
have no idea what they want.
So that's a very important thing.
Get that first. So what's your bliss, right? Figure it out.
What's your bliss? Figure out what you want. That's one pattern. And another thing that I realized is that positivity and gratitude. And this is something which a lot of people would think that, nah, you know, I'm a business person, entrepreneur, or whatever, right? But every successful person that I've spoken to, gratitude and positive attitude.
So gratitude. What do you mean by gratitude and positive attitude?
Being grateful for what you have. So
they you know, on a personal basis, they have to be grateful.
They have to be grateful.
And then they have to have this positive framework. That
so it goes hand in hand.
Right. This positive framework is to enable you to go through difficulties and so on, is it?
Not just difficulties. It's just that you start looking at things differently. If you have like something that failed, like I said, a business failed, and you're like, oh my God, my life is over, you're never going to have the right mindset to start the next thing. But if you're like, whoa, my business failed, it didn't fail. Look, I've got all these contacts. Now I've got all these new ways of doing. Now I know what not to do. You know, and so like, and also every little thing. Successful people are grateful for every little thing, like even the smallest things. They're like, I'm so happy, you know, like today I woke up an extra 5 minutes early. I'm so happy, you know, and like normal people would just be like, nah. So that is a few of the things. So
it's about knowing what your bliss is, and then having the discipline of putting together some sort of a pathway to get to that, right?
And like being very grateful
and be grateful and have
positive.
A positive mind. That's a
and there's a lot actually. Like if you go through the interviews, you'll see a lot of people say a lot of different things, but some of them are consistent. And so
who are some of those you have interviewed that you could recall?
Well, there's Vishen Lakhiani, who's actually appeared on Mind Valley. I also have another guy called Brian Johnson. He's not on the blog yet, but he's brilliant guy. And I've also interviewed a local celebrity called Henry Golding. I don't know if you know him, but again, a very inspiring.
So these are all people who've achieved their bliss, right?
Or like if you just meet them. Just meeting them, you're like, whoa, it's just so different because they don't have the normal defeatist or kind of attitude. You around them, you feel inspired to do things.
And you feel positive.
So these are people that are really nice to be around.
And they all share this commonality: positivity, gratefulness, and and this whole understanding what their bliss is and so on.
Yes, they all know where they're headed. You know, like in the movie Pirates of the Caribbean, that Captain. Jack Sparrow. He had a compass, and the compass will only show him where to go only if he knew where to go. So if the second one, he didn't know where he was going, so the compass wouldn't show him where to go. So that's a very it's a very good analogy for life. If you don't know where to go, the compass is not good. If you don't know where you're headed, the compass won't show you.
Which is your first step and so on.
So it won't show you where to go. So I thought it was brilliant. I was like, wow, did they know that? Did they put that in there for that? Like,
You started Blissipline, and then now you've started this thing called Guerrilla Entrepreneurship, right? How did that come about?
That came about from the blog because
so from the blog itself.
From the blog, because I was doing these little interviews. They're very short, like 10 minutes or sometimes 12 minutes.
These are on videos, right?
On videos. And what happened was a lot of people were like, oh, these people are so cool, and you know, they want to meet them. And I thought, you know, it'd be great if they came and started actually training people, and not just feel-good talks, but actually gave people steps and tools and strategies. And then it grew from something like these free talks that I did, like 1 hour talks, which I was giving, and they got a lot of good response, and it became an event, a seminar, and I'm really excited about it. Really.
So, what's your most favorite person that you've interviewed? Is that the guy that you just mentioned, Brian Johnson, or?
Actually, you know what? Every time I interview someone, I know it sounds really cookie, but I love them all, because every time I interview them, I learn something out of them, and I'm like, whoa, I never thought of it that way, you know? And so that's really amazing. So
tell us a little about Guerrilla Entrepreneurship. So why Guerrilla? I mean, are entrepreneurs such guerrillas?
No, the idea behind Guerrilla is, well, Guerrilla means basically making do with what you have.
I mean, guerrilla gives you the impression that they're all like covered in mud
in like
all kinds of things,
war paint,
ready to fight and kill for a cause.
For a cause. But basically, guerrilla also they use it a lot in war and all. But that's the guerrilla are the parties which don't have all these resources, so they really make do with what they have.
Okay, so it's about the limited resources and
it's not just limited resources, but it's about thinking differently. Because if you're a guerrilla and you don't have the resources, you have to think differently. You have to, like, you know, if you don't have all these have to alternate plans. You have to think quick, be productive, and all of that. So that's the part which I'm taking, and I thought that, you know, I'm trying to encourage people to not do business the old way, you know, where you're like doing things, you feel that I can't start a business, I don't have this amount of money, you know, and I'm like, dude, you don't need all of that. You can do it this way. And there are all these people who are speaking at the event have started out like, they did not start out with like multi-million-dollar business, you know, they all started out with basically nothing. Like Vishen started out in his bedroom with a computer, and now he's got like a multi-million-dollar business, and like Lloyd, same thing, and Kevin, same thing, Cody, like all of them. So I'm like, dude, if you think it's not,
there is some pattern to this madness.
Yeah, if you think it's not true, like this is your proof, you know. So that's how I picked the speakers, and I hope that people get inspired by them.
So are you following a similar path yourself? Because I know you're gonna leave KL and go to San Francisco and film a documentary on love, right?
Yeah, I know. That's the plan.
So is that part of your bliss, filming documentaries on love?
Yeah, it is. I have like, people always say that, what are your plans? And I really don't have very concrete plans. As they say, I just kind of go where it takes me.
Yeah. And so what's your next assignment? Tell us a little bit about your next assignment.
The next assignment, I'm going to go to San Francisco, and I have friends and a community there, and they're all about connecting with people. And I thought that was just like, when I had a chance to meet them, I thought it was so amazing, so life-changing. I was like, people need to know about this. And my personal purpose is human connection. So I like to do that through art and entrepreneurship. So I thought that this would be great, that if I can get this out.
So what are you going to do? You're actually going to film a documentary on this connections, or you call it love, right?
Yeah. Well, love is, you have to have a measure of connection, like, you know, or else it won't be love.
Okay. So it's not love literally and in love, but it's in people loving each other to connect. Is it?
I haven't really got the concrete plan down, but it's not just mother-daughter kind of love. It is a relationship kind of love, because I'm trying to see if I'm not trying to see, but I'm saying that there are ways that people can have different types of relationships and non-possessive type relationships and make it work. You know, like, I think, like, you know, the world, if we loved more, it would be a better place, so connected more, be a better place.
So we'll make sure when your film comes out, we'll air it on our TV
I hope
network.
So.
Well, we'll be the first to air that.
That would be awesome. I want to appear on Oprah.
Okay.
So that's
the next
goal.
The next goal, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. You know, I'd like to get a piece of advice from you. Imagine if I'm a college graduate, just came out of university, or I just coming out of school, wherever. You know, what advice would you give me? You know, in terms of discipline, you know?
Well, first of all, I will encourage you to forget everything you learned in college.
Okay. Throw it all away. Waste of time.
Just like, you know, just put it to one side. You don't have to throw it away, because it does come in handy, right?
A little bit.
So, you know, like, put it aside, whatever it is you learned, and sit down and ask yourself, what do you want? What makes you a thing that I like to get people to do is just take a piece of paper and write on top, what would get me out of bed in the morning? Like,
so what excites you?
It's not just what excites you, you know, because excitement dies sometimes.
Yeah.
So what would get me out of bed in the morning, you know? If, you know, just imagine you had all this money in the world and you didn't have to get out of bed for anything.
Right.
What would get you out of bed in the morning? So that's a good place to start. And here's a story. This is how I got my job in Mind Valley, which is a bit kooky. You might not see the connection, but I did that exercise, and for me, I was like, I was working in the entertainment business before this, and so I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. So I did that list, and on that list, I wrote, I want a job that I can walk in whenever I can, whenever I want to. I want a job that pays me well. I want a job that allows me to travel. I want a job that, you know, allows me to meet amazing people, and also allows me to continue to video and film and all of that. So I was then looking at the list. I was like, okay, so who's going to hire me? Like, where in the world do I find this job, right? But I thought, you know what? It's okay. This is what I want, and I kind of just left it. And funny thing about when you make a list like that,
I think you also start looking at you see
your
things.
mind subconsciously starts looking for this,
and you found
and then I found 3 months later I got offered a job, and that job sent me all over the world, pays me well. I can walk in anytime I want. It's a flexi-hour job. I am working with the most amazing people, and I was working with the most amazing people, and also I got to meet
some amazing people.
So many, like a lot of people that I interviewed on the Bliss Discipline, I met them through my job. So it's like, you know, you first need to know where you're going, even if it sounds impossible.
Fantastic. Now, if I'm, you know, I'm interested to start up blogs, if I'm interested in writing, if I'm interested to become an entrepreneur myself, what advice would you give me?
I would advise you to get your mindset right first. Like, if it's a blog, well, buy a domain name. you know the process. Buy a domain name, get WordPress, you know, and just start writing. Just start writing. There's nothing to it, right? Just start writing. But as an entrepreneur, I would advise you to get the right mindset, because that's my personal belief that I spent a lot of time just getting the mindset, like listening, like failing, and then going, okay, I failed, now what, you know, and talking to a lot of successful entrepreneurs. Like, I have like mentors, so I'll be like, dude, this is not working out, what's happening? And every time they'll be like, mindset, because if you don't have the right mindset, you're gonna fail. And when you fail, it's gonna hurt a lot. But if you have the right mindset, and one thing which someone told me, which I found to be so valuable, was that I used to do this. I used to do something and I would almost break down because I would compare myself with other people. Like, I'll be like, oh my God, this is what I'm doing, and that person is doing this, and I'm doing, and you know, and it would just like break, like, you know, I wouldn't move because I'd be like, because there's always someone doing something better than you. And he said, don't stop comparing yourself to other people, compare yourself with yourself. So if today, ask yourself, am I better than I was yesterday? And that completely shifted my mindset. And I was like, hey, you're right. Like, if I compare myself with myself, I can only get better, right? I can't be like, you did this yesterday, oh my God, I can't, you know, like, so that was like a really big shift. So that's something that I think entrepreneurs, like, mindset, like, that's the most important for me. Then tools and strategies, you can learn them anywhere. Mindset.
But it starts with the belief in the mindset.
It's not just a simple belief, it's an actual shift of mindset. So
Well, Hani, thanks a lot for being on the show, and we hope to see you as successful as Steven Spielberg, and we hope you'll be able to air your little videos on your little movies on our TV network.
I'm sure.
With Hani Khaursar here with us on the Leaderonomics show, we thank you again for your time. We appreciate it. Thank you.